Picture this. Her name is Gloria Dixon. She is 32 years old. 3 weeks ago, her parents stood up at their 40th wedding anniversary dinner. They told 30 guests, "We taking the whole family to Hawaii next week for another celebration." Everyone clapped. Her sisters squealed with excitement. Gloria smiled, already dreaming about palm trees and ocean breezes, her first real vacation in years. Then she made the mistake of asking one simple question: "What time is our flight?" Her father looked at her like she spoke a foreign language. Her mother's smile tightened. And right there, in front of every single guest, her dad said, "You don't need to know, Gloria. You not part of this trip. Someone got to stay behind and watch the kids." 30 pairs of eyes, 30 witnesses to the moment her family told her she wasn't really family at all. But hear what they didn't know. She had a secret, one she'd been building for 3 years. And that night, she decided it was finally time to use it. Before I tell y'all what happened next, please smash that like button if this already got you heated. And drop a comment telling me where you watching from and what time it is there. Now, to understand why Gloria walked away from everything she knew, let me take y'all back to the beginning. The Dixon family lives in a beautiful brick house in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. 4 bedrooms, 2-car garage, lawn trimmed to HOA perfection. The kind of house that screams, "We made it," to anyone driving by. Her father, Roland Dixon, retired 3 years ago from his position as branch manager at a regional bank right here in Atlanta. Her mother, Patricia, she never worked a paid job in her life. But child, she will tell you she busier than any CEO, chairing the church women committee, organizing neighborhood fundraisers, maintaining what she calls the family reputation. Then there's her sister Bethany, 3 years younger than Gloria, married to Derek Hartley, a corporate attorney at a firm downtown whose name she drops in every conversation. They got 2 kids, 5-year-old Malik and 3-year-old Aaliyah, plus a brand new Lexus SUV that always gets the prime spot in the parents' driveway. Gloria, old Honda Civic, the one she'd been driving for 10 years. It gets parked on the street. "Gloria, move your car," her mother would say every single time. Derek bringing the Lexus and guests notice what in the driveway first. She never questioned it. She just moved her car. That's the thing about being the invisible one in your family. You stop noticing all the small ways they already decided you don't matter. The nicer parking spot, the better seat at the table, the way your mother introduces your sister by her husband job title, while you just, Gloria, she helps out. Gloria works as a part-time accountant, mostly remote clients, flexible hours, modest income. Nothing impressive by Dixon family standards, but she never told them about the other things she do. The things she started 3 years ago after her life fell apart in a different way. She never told them she learned to see. Let me paint you a picture of what helping out looks like in the Dixon family. Thanksgiving. She arrived at 6 a.m. to start the turkey. She set the table with her mother Wedgwood china, the set she not allowed to use, only to wash. She arranged the flowers, polished the silver, coordinate the timing of 7 side dishes. Bethany arrived at noon in a cashmere sweater, kisses everyone hello, and sits down to be served. Christmas, same routine, plus wrapping all the presents her mother bought because her arthritis acting up. Funny how that arthritis never stopped her from playing bridge 3 times a week. Birthday parties for her niece and nephew. She the entertainment coordinator, the cleanup crew, and the backup babysitter all in one. Last year, she spent 8 hours running Malik's dinosaur-themed party while Bethany got a manicure because she needed a break. The one time Gloria asked if maybe, just maybe, she could skip a family event because she had a deadline for a client, her mother voice went cold. "Family comes first, Gloria. We all make sacrifices." except she the only one who ever seems to make them. The breaking point comes in small moments, like the year she got her Christmas gift, a kitchen apron that said, "World Best Aunt," in glittery letters. Bethany gave it to her. She smiled like she'd done something thoughtful. Gloria wore it every single time she came over to cook, clean, and babysit. Do you want to know when she realized the truth? It hit her one random Tuesday evening while she's scrubbing her mother's big pot after yet another family dinner. She couldn't remember the last time anyone invited her somewhere without expecting her to work. 3 years ago, her life fell apart. She'd been dating a man named Kevin for 4 years. They talked about marriage, about kids, about a future. Then one evening, he sat her down and said the words she'd never forget. "I love you, Gloria, but I don't think I in love with you anymore. You just there. You always just there. Like furniture, like wallpaper." After he left, she wandered into a pawn shop downtown Atlanta. She don't know why. Maybe she looking for something to fill the hole. That when she saw it, a Canon DSLR camera, used but well maintained, tagged at $180. She bought it with money she should have saved. She told no one. That camera became her secret. She started photographing things most people ignore: elderly women at bus stops, the tired faces of overnight janitors, the calloused hands of a street vendor, people who society looks right through, the same way her family looks right through her. She called the series Invisible Women. She created an anonymous Instagram account. No face, no real name, just the photos. Over 3 years, she gathered 12,000 followers, people who saw what she saw, people who understood. She kept the camera wrapped in an old cashmere scarf at the back of her closet. It was the only thing she ever kept for herself. 3 weeks before her parents' anniversary party, she got an email that she almost deleted as spam. It was from a gallery in Monterey, California, Coastal Light Gallery, asking if she had be interested in discussing her work. She stared at that email for 20 minutes before she realized her hands shaking. But she didn't reply. Not yet, because good things didn't happen to people like her. There was one person in her family who actually sees her. Her name is Ruby, and she is her mother's younger sister. Aunt Ruby, what her mother calls the family disappointment. She never married. She followed her passion for ceramics instead of getting a real job. 20 years ago, she moved to Carmel by the Sea to open a small cafe with a pottery studio in the back. Her mother hasn't forgiven her since. Gloria been calling Aunt Ruby every Sunday night for 7 years. Her mother don't know. It was Aunt Ruby who first saw her photographs. She sent her one, just one, testing the waters, and her response made Gloria cry. "Gloria, this extraordinary. You have a gift." Nobody had ever called anything she did extraordinary. Aunt Ruby was the one who encouraged her to keep shooting, to keep posting, and she was the one who 3 weeks before the anniversary said something that changed everything. "Gloria, I hope you don't mind, but I sent your Instagram link to someone, a gallery owner I know in Monterey. His name is Marcus Coleman. He looking for emerging artists." Gloria nearly dropped the phone. "Aunt Ruby, that's the gallery that emailed me." "I know, sweetheart. He told me he wants to talk to you about a solo exhibition." Silence, her heart pounding. "But that real, that's an actual career thing." "Yes, it is." Her voice was gentle but firm. "And you deserve it. You don't need anyone's permission to pursue what you love. I learned that lesson late. You don't have to." That night, Gloria replied to Marcus Coleman's email. Now let me bring y'all to the night that changed everything. Her parents' 40th wedding anniversary, a milestone worthy of a party according to her mother, which meant 30 guests, a catered menu that Gloria would assist with to save money, and an evening of celebrating the Dixon family 4 decades of picture-perfect marriage. The preparation started a week before. Gloria took 3 days off from her accounting clients to help set up. She ordered flowers, white roses, and peonies per her mother's specifications. She hand-wrote 60 place cards in the calligraphy her mother insisted upon. She coordinated with the caterer, pressed the tablecloths, polished the Waterford crystal glasses that had been a wedding gift 40 years ago. On the day of the party, she arrived at 7 a.m. She wore jeans and a t-shirt because there was no point dressing up when she would be in the kitchen for the next 10 hours. By 6 p.m., the house looked perfect. Candles glowed on every surface. The dining table stretched across the living room, set for 30, with her mother's finest china. Gloria had changed into a simple black dress. Nothing fancy, nothing that would draw attention. "Gloria?" Her mother's voice caught her in the hallway. She looked her up and down, frowning. "Is that what you wearing?" "It's black. I thought it was appropriate." "It's fine, I suppose. Just stay in the background. Today is about your father and me." Gloria nodded. She always nodded. Guests began arriving at 7, the men in sports coats, the women in cocktail dresses, old colleagues, church friends, neighbors whose lawns were as immaculate as theirs. 30 people who thought they knew the Dixon family. None of them knew Gloria at all. And in 3 hours, that wouldn't matter anymore. Bethany arrived at 7:15, perfectly timed for maximum impact. She swept through the front door in a red wrap dress. "Diane von Furstenberg," she announced to anyone who asked, with Derek behind her in a charcoal suit and their 2 children dressed like catalog models. Her mother rushed to embrace her, exclaiming over how beautiful she looked, how handsome Derek was, how precious the grandchildren were. Gloria watched from the kitchen doorway, holding a tray of bruschetta. "Everyone, you remember my daughter Bethany and her husband Derek," her mother announced to the room. "Derek, a partner at Whitmore and Associates. They just made him partner last year. We so proud." Applause, smiles, congratulations. Her mother never mentioned that Gloria, the one who done Derek's taxes for 3 years, free of charge, naturally. Gloria circulated with appetizers, refilled wine glasses, answered questions from guests who didn't recognize her. "Are you with the catering company?" one woman asked, reaching for a crab cake. Before she could answer, her mother appeared. "Oh, that Gloria, my other daughter. She helping out tonight." The woman smiled politely and turned away. Her mother didn't notice. She never noticed. At one point, Derek approached her with Aaliyah squirming in his arms and Malik tugging at his jacket. "Hey, can you take them? Bethany and I need to mingle." Not "would you mind," not "thank you," just "can you take them," like passing off luggage. Gloria took them. She fed them dinner in the kitchen. She wiped Aaliyah's face when she spilled juice on her dress. She told Malik 3 stories to keep him from running into the living room and disrupting the party. When she finally emerged, dessert was being served. She hadn't eaten anything all day. No one had thought to save her a plate. The announcement came at 9 p.m., right after her mother, tiramisu, was served. Her father stood up, tapping his champagne glass with a fork. The room fell silent. 30 faces turned toward him with expectant smiles. "Patricia and I want to thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice warm with rehearsed charm. 40 years of marriage, 4 decades of building this family, this life, this home. Her mother beamed beside him. Bethany reached for Derek's hand. Gloria stood near the kitchen doorway, still holding a dirty dessert plate. "And to celebrate this milestone," her father continued, "we have a surprise announcement." He paused for effect. Her mother's eyes sparkled. "Next week, We taken the whole family to Hawaii. 1 week at the Four Seasons in Maui. A second celebration, just the Dixons. The room erupted in appreciative murmurs. How wonderful. What a gift. You two deserve it. Bethany actually squealed. Dad, that amazing. The kid's gonna love it. Gloria felt something lift in her chest. The whole family. That meant her too. For once, she wouldn't be cooking, cleaning, or babysitting. She'd actually be included. She stepped forward, allowing herself a small smile. That sounds incredible. What time is our flight? The question hung in the air. Her father's expression shifted. He glanced at her mother. Something passed between them, a look she'd seen 1,000 times, but never understood until that moment. Gloria, he said slowly, you don't need to know the flight time. The room went quiet. Not the comfortable silence of anticipation, but the tense quiet of something going wrong. I don't understand, she heard herself say. Her father cleared his throat. Because you not going. 30 pairs of eyes. That how many people watched her father tell her she wasn't part of the family vacation. Someone needs to stay behind, her mother added, as if this were the most logical thing in the world. Bethany and Derek need a real vacation. That means you watch the children. But Gloria started. Honestly, her mother's tone sharpened. You don't have anything important to do. Bethany works hard. She deserves a break. Bethany works hard. Bethany, who hadn't held a job since Malik was born. Bethany, who had a nanny 3 days a week and still complained about being exhausted. It's just a week, Derek added, not even looking at her. The kids love you. Gloria stood there in her plain black dress holding a dirty plate while 30 people watched her be dismissed from her own family. Some of them looked uncomfortable. Most of them just looked away. One woman, she didn't know her name, leaned toward her husband and whispered something. He nodded. Gloria caught the words. Poor thing. She must be used to it by now. The champagne glass in her hand trembled. She set down the plate, set down the glass, because she didn't trust herself not to drop them. Of course, she heard herself say. I understand. She smiled, the smile she learned to wear after 32 years of being the one who helps out, the one who doesn't complain, the one who is always, always just there. But something inside her had finally cracked. Not broken, cracked, like a fault line shifting before an earthquake. She excused herself to the kitchen. She leaned against the counter and closed her eyes. And for the first time in her life, she started making a different kind of plan. Y'all seeing this mess? What would you do, sis? The party continued without her. Of course it did. She stayed in the kitchen mechanically washing dishes while laughter and conversation drifted in from the living room. At some point, Bethany appeared, her red dress swishing against the doorframe. Gloria, don't be upset, she said, reaching for her arm. You know how it is. Derek and I really need this time together. It's been so stressful lately with the kids. Gloria kept washing. I understand. Besides, you so good with Malik and Aaliyah. They barely notice we gone. She rinsed a champagne glass, set it in the drying rack, said nothing. Bethany sighed the way she always does when she thinks Gloria being difficult. Look, it's just a week and you don't have like a boyfriend or anything tying you down. Your schedule flexible. Flexible? That word again. As if her time had no value because she chose how to spend it. Derek made a list, she continued, pulling out her phone. Their schedules, food allergies. Aaliyah can't have strawberries, remember? And there this new thing with Malik ear. He might need drops. I text you everything. She didn't ask if Gloria was willing. She just assumed that when Derek appeared, loosening his tie. All sorted, great. We heading out early tomorrow to pack. Bethany, your mother wants photos before we leave." They were gone before she could respond. Not that she would have, not that she ever did. But as Gloria stood there alone in her mother's kitchen, staring at the list of instructions Bethany had just texted her, a single thought crystallized in her mind. They don't see me as family. They see me as staff. And staff can resign. It was almost midnight when she found the emails. The last guests had finally left. Her parents had gone to bed, exhausted from accepting 40 years' worth of congratulations. Gloria was alone in the living room folding tablecloths when she realized she needed to send a file to a client whose deadline she pushed back for this party. Her laptop was at home. Her mother was on the kitchen counter. She won't mind, Gloria told herself. She borrowed her things 1,000 times without asking. She opened the laptop. Safari was already running. And there it was, her mother's Gmail, still logged in. She should have clicked away immediately. She should have minded her own business. But she saw her name in the subject line of a recent thread. Hawaii arrangements, Gloria situation. Her finger hovered over the trackpad. She knew she shouldn't. She knew whatever she found would hurt. She clicked anyway. The thread was between her mother and Bethany starting a week before the party. From Patricia Dixon to Bethany Hartley. "Keep Gloria here to watch the kids. She doesn't have anything important to do anyway. Derek was right. It is like having free help. She should be grateful we give her something to do." And Bethany reply, "Totally agree, Mom. She'll probably feel useful for once. It is kind of sad, honestly, but at least it works out for us." Gloria read those words 3 times to make sure she understood them. Free help. She should be grateful. Kind of sad. She took screenshots. She emailed them to herself. She deleted her email from the sent folder and cleared the browser history. Then she sat in her mother's dark kitchen in the house where she grew up and finally let herself understand exactly what she was to them. Drop ad if you were Team Gloria right now. She drove home at 1 a.m. through empty Atlanta streets. Her apartment was small, a 1-bedroom in a building that hadn't been updated since the 90s. Beige carpet, white walls, furniture she bought secondhand. Her mother had called it depressing the one time she visited, but it was hers, the only space where she could breathe. She sat in the darkness for a long time, staring at her phone. The email from Marcus Coleman glowed on the screen, the one she answered but never followed up on. They exchanged a few messages about a potential meeting. He wanted to see her full portfolio in person. He was excited about the series. She could go. She could actually go. She picked up her phone and called the only person who would understand. Aunt Ruby answered on the second ring, even though it was past midnight. "Gloria, what's wrong?" She told her everything. The announcement, the humiliation, the emails. Her voice cracked exactly once when she read aloud the words, "free help." When she finished, there was silence on the line. Then Aunt Ruby said something she never forget. "Gloria, I have a spare room above the cafe. I need help with the morning shift anyway. And that gallery, it's 20 minutes from my place." "Aunt Ruby, I can't just—" "Yes, you can. You can leave. You can choose yourself for once. The only person stopping you is you." She hung up at 2 a.m. By 6, she started packing. 3 suitcases, her camera equipment, her laptop, the cashmere scarf that had wrapped her Canon. For 3 years, she left behind the world-best aunt apron. For the first time in 32 years, she was choosing herself. If you made it this far, I want to ask you something. Have you ever had to choose between your family and yourself? Have you ever stood at a crossroads where staying meant losing who you were? Tell me in the comments, what would you do? Would you stay and endure it, or would you leave? And if this story matters to you, please hit that like button. Now let me tell y'all what happened when she told them she was leaving. 2 days before her family Hawaii trip, Gloria drove to her parents' house one last time. Her mother was in the living room coordinating outfits for the vacation. Bethany sat on the couch scrolling through resort reviews. Derek was somewhere upstairs, probably on a work call. Her father was reading the paper in his armchair, the way he always did, present in body, absent in attention. "I need to tell you something," she said from the doorway. Her mother barely looked up. "If it's about the children's schedule, Bethany already sent it to you." "It's not about that." Gloria steadied her voice. "I'm not watching the kids. I won't be available." That got their attention. Bethany's head snapped up. Her mother's hands froze over a pile of sundresses. "What do you mean, not available?" her mother asked. "I have a work opportunity in California. I'm leaving tomorrow." "California?" Her father lowered his newspaper. "What kind of work opportunity?" "It's professional, something I've been working toward." She didn't owe them the details. She didn't owe them anything. Bethany's face twisted. "Gloria, you can't be serious. I'm counting on you. We all planned around this." "You planned around me without asking me," Gloria said quietly. "I'm not canceling my life because you assumed I didn't have one." The silence was deafening. Then her mother stood up, her voice cold as January. "This incredibly selfish Gloria. Bethany needs your help. Family comes first." "Family comes first," Gloria repeated, "except when it comes to inviting me to Hawaii." Her mouth opened, then closed. For once, Patricia Dixon had nothing to say. Her father cleared his throat. "If you leave, don't expect us to welcome you back with open arms." "I understand," she said. And for the first time, she meant it. The next 24 hours were a master class in emotional manipulation. Her mother called 6 times. Each voicemail was more dramatic than the last. "You tearing this family apart, Gloria. I hope you can live with that. Your father devastated. He barely ate dinner." Bethany cried all evening. The children kept asking where Aunt Gloria was going. Bethany took a different approach. Weaponized vulnerability. "Gloria, I don't understand why you doing this to me. I your sister. Don't you care about us at all?" And then the text that nearly broke her. "You going to end up alone, you know, just like Aunt Ruby. Is that what you want?" Gloria stared at that message for a long time. Just like Aunt Ruby. They meant it as an insult. They meant it to scare her. But Aunt Ruby had her own business, her own art, her own life built on her own terms. Aunt Ruby was happy. Maybe ending up like Aunt Ruby wasn't a threat. Maybe it was a promise. She turned off her phone. The last thing she did before she left Atlanta was walk through her empty apartment. 3 suitcases by the door. Everything else would stay behind. The second-hand couch, the beige carpet, the life she'd been living for everyone else. She taped her spare key to an envelope and slid it under her landlord door. Month-to-month lease, paid through the end of January. Clean break. She loaded her car as the sun came up. Her Honda Civic, 10 years old and reliable as ever. The same car her mother had been embarrassed by for years. It was going to carry her to a new life. She didn't look back as she pulled away from the curb. The drive from Atlanta to Carmel by the Sea takes about 40 hours if you push it. She didn't push it. She took 5 days, stopping at roadside motels, eating at diners where nobody knew her name. Somewhere in Texas, she pulled over at a rest stop and just sat there watching the sunset paint the prairie in shades of gold and pink. She photographed it, her first shot as a free woman. On the 3rd day, her phone buzzed with a text from Bethany. She turned it back on to check directions. "Mom says if you not home when we get back from Hawaii, you dead to her." She read it once, then deleted it. She was already acting like Gloria was dead anyway. At least now she'd be alive somewhere else. On the fourth day, she called Aunt Ruby from a gas station in Arizona. "I about 8 hours out," she said. "Your room ready, fresh sheets, ocean view, and Marcus wants to meet you tomorrow afternoon if you up for it." Her stomach flipped. "Tomorrow? That's so fast." "Gloria." Her voice was warm, certain. "You been waiting 3 years for this. It not fast. It finally." When she crossed into California, something shifted inside her. The Pacific appeared on her left, vast and endless and blue. She rolled down her window and breathed salt air for the first time in her life. She cried then, not from sadness, from relief, from the overwhelming sensation of possibility. At 7 p.m. on the fifth day, she pulled into the driveway of the Ceramic Cup, Aunt Ruby Cafe and Pottery Studio in Carmel by the Sea. She was waiting on the porch, arms open. "Welcome home," she said, and for the first time in 32 years, somewhere actually felt like it. Carmel by the Sea is the kind of place that doesn't feel real at first. Cottages with storybook rooftops, art galleries on every corner, ocean mist rolling through cypress trees. The whole town felt like a painting someone had dreamed into existence. Aunt Ruby Cafe sat on a quiet street 2 blocks from the beach. The Ceramic Cup, hand-lettered sign, blue shutters, window boxes overflowing with lavender. The pottery studio occupied the back half of the building, where she taught classes and sold her work to tourists who wandered in for coffee. Gloria room was upstairs, small but bright. A bed with a white quilt, a desk by the window, and a view of the Pacific that made her chest ache with something she couldn't name. "You work the morning shift," Aunt Ruby explained over dinner that first night, 6 to noon. "After that, your time is yours." "I don't know how to thank you for this." She waved her hand. "Don't thank me. Just build something. That payment enough." The next morning, Gloria woke before dawn. She tied on an apron, not the world best aunt one she left behind, just a simple canvas apron with the Ceramic Cup embroidered in blue thread, and learned how to make pour-over coffee. Customers came and went, locals who knew Ruby by name, tourists charmed by the homemade scones. She took orders, wiped tables, chatted with strangers who had no idea she ran away from her entire life 5 days ago. By noon, she made $37 in tips. She smiled more than she had in months. And at 2 p.m., she had an appointment at Coastal Light Gallery. She showered, changed into the nicest dress she owned, and walked 3 blocks to meet the man who might change everything. Marcus Coleman looked nothing like she expected. She imagined someone intimidating, slicked back hair, designer suit, the kind of gallery owner who made artists feel small. Instead, the man who greeted her at Coastal Light Gallery was tall and weathered, with silver hair and kind eyes. He wore a linen shirt, sleeves rolled up, and smiled like they were already friends. "Gloria Dixon," he said, shaking her hand. "Ruby has told me a lot about you, but the work speaks for itself." He led her through the gallery, white walls, natural light, photographs and paintings displayed with careful precision. This was a serious place, a place where art mattered. "I looked through your Instagram extensively," Marcus continued. "The Invisible Women series is extraordinary. There's a truth in those images that most photographers spend decades trying to capture." She didn't know what to say. She never heard anyone describe her work that way. "This one." He stopped in front of a large monitor displaying her portfolio. On screen was a photograph she had taken 2 years ago. An elderly woman waiting alone at a bus stop. Her face a map of lines and quiet dignity. "This is the one that made me reach out. There's something in her eyes. Patience, maybe. or resignation, it heartbreaking. She was waiting for a bus that came late, Gloria said quietly. She'd been standing there for 40 minutes. Nobody stopped to offer help. Marcus nodded slowly. You see people, Gloria? Really see them? That a gift. He turned to face her, and his next words landed like a key turning in a lock. I like to offer you a solo exhibition. 15 pieces opening in 6 weeks. We cover printing, framing, and marketing. You keep 60% of all sales. She signed the contract on a Tuesday afternoon, sitting at Marcus's desk with sunlight streaming through the gallery windows. The document was simple. 15 photographs. Opening night scheduled for late August. Coastal Light Gallery would handle production costs, printing, framing, installation, marketing materials. She would receive 60% of all sales revenue, with the gallery retaining 40% as commission. Standard terms, Marcus assured her. Fair terms. But as she read through the pages, her hands started to shake. Take your time, Marcus said gently. This is a big step. It wasn't the business terms that overwhelmed her. It was seeing her name printed in official type. Artist Gloria Dixon. A legal document recognizing that her work had value, that she had value. She thought about all the times she'd done her family taxes without credit, all the parties she organized without thanks, all the hours spent caring for children who would grow up never knowing how much she'd given them. Not once had her name appeared on anything that celebrated her contribution until now. The exhibition title, Marcus said, pointing to a line near the bottom. I like your approval. We proposing Invisible Women, Portraits of the Overlooked. Invisible Women. It perfect, she whispered. She signed her name on the line. Marcus countersigned as witness. The document was notarized by his assistant, a young woman named Julia, who stamped the pages with official precision. When it was done, Marcus handed her her copy. Congratulations, Gloria. You officially a represented artist. She walked out of that gallery holding the contract against her chest, physical proof that she wasn't nothing, that she'd never been nothing. For 3 years, she built something in the shadows. Now, finally, it was about to step into the light. While she was building her new life in California, her family was discovering what her absence actually meant. She didn't witness these events firsthand, of course. She heard about them later, pieced together from voicemails and text, and one very awkward phone call from her father. Apparently, Hawaii was a disaster. Without her there to babysit, Bethany and Derek couldn't enjoy a single adults-only dinner. Malik threw a tantrum on the beach because no one remembered to pack his special sandcastle bucket, something Gloria always remembered. Aaliyah developed an ear infection on day 3, and nobody could find the pediatrician number because she'd always been the one to keep track of medical information. Her mother spent most of the trip complaining that the resort staff wasn't as attentive as expected. She called the concierge 3 times to complain about turned-down service. She sent back her Mai Tai twice. This isn't relaxing at all, she reportedly said. Who planned this trip? Her father wisely did not remind her that she had planned it herself. The texts started arriving on day 4. Gloria, where are the kids' medication records? Gloria, what Malik bedtime routine? He won't sleep. Gloria, the restaurant don't have a kids' menu. What would they eat? She didn't respond. She was too busy printing proofs at a photography lab in Monterey, selecting frames, and meeting with a journalist from Carmel magazine who wanted to interview her. But here the thing about absence. It teaches people what they've been taking for granted. On day 6 of their Hawaiian vacation, Bethany did something she'd never done before. She searched Gloria's name on Google, and for the first time, she found something other than a blank page. 6 weeks later, Gloria stood in the center of Coastal Light Gallery and couldn't quite believe it was real. 15 of her photographs hung on the walls, each one printed large and framed in simple black. The gallery glowed with soft light. A string quartet played in the corner. Marcus' idea, not hers. A bartender in a crisp white shirt poured champagne. 50 guests moved through the space. Local artists she met through Aunt Ruby. Collectors Marcus had invited. A journalist from Carmel magazine, already taking notes. People who had come specifically to see her work on gallery walls with price tags that made her dizzy. She wore a navy dress, simple, elegant, nothing that screamed for attention. Her hair was down for once. She even put on lipstick, something she rarely did. Aunt Ruby appeared at her side, pressing a glass of champagne into her hand. "How do you feel?" "Terrified," she admitted. "What if nobody buys anything?" "Someone already has." She nodded toward a woman in pearls, examining the centerpiece of her exhibition, the bus stop photograph, the one that caught Marcus' attention. A small red dot had appeared on the wall placard beside it. "That Mrs. Peyton. She owns half the art in Monterey County. She just bought that piece for $3,000. $3,000 for something she created? "Gloria," Marcus approached, grinning broadly. "I want to introduce you to someone from the magazine. They considering you for next month cover feature." Cover feature? Magazine cover. Her face, her name, her story, all in print. She was halfway through that introduction when the gallery door opened and her world tilted on its axis. Bethany and Derek walked in, still sunburned from Hawaii. They looked completely out of place. Bethany wore a floral sundress more suited to a beach brunch than an art opening. Derek had his phone out, already frowning at something on the screen. They both scanned the room with expressions she knew well, the look her family wore whenever they encountered something outside their understanding. Then Bethany saw her. "Gloria!" She rushed forward, arms outstretched, like they were reuniting after a long separation she was been dreading. "Oh my God, we've been so worried about you." 50 guests turned to look. The string quartet faltered for half a beat before continuing. "Bethany," Gloria kept her voice calm. "This unexpected." "We had to come." Her eyes were wide, earnest. "We flew in yesterday. Mom found your Instagram. She been calling everyone trying to track you down." Derek appeared behind her, nodding at her like they were business associates. "Gloria, nice place." "It's a gallery," she said. "My gallery opening, actually." Bethany blinked, taking in the photographs on the walls for the first time, taking in the guests, the champagne, the price tags. "You did all this?" Her voice was genuinely confused. "Since when do you do this?" "Since 3 years ago. You never asked what I did in my free time." Aunt Ruby materialized at her elbow, a quiet wall of support. Across the room, Marcus was watching carefully, ready to intervene if needed. Bethany leaned closer, lowering her voice. "Gloria, I have news. I'm pregnant again, number 3, and I really need you to come home. Derek worked crazy right now. Mom not helpful with the kids. I need you." There it was. Not an apology, not congratulations on the exhibition, just need. Always. Always their need. The words hung in the air between them. I need you. How many times had she heard that phrase? How many times had she dropped everything, rearranged her life, made herself small enough to fit into the space they carved out for her? "Bethany," Gloria said quietly, "I in the middle of my opening night." I know. And this lovely. Really?" She waved her hand at her life work like it was a cute hobby. but we can talk about that later. Right now, I need to know when you coming back." "She not coming back." Aunt Ruby's voice cut through like a blade. "She lives here now." Derek stepped forward, irritation flickering across his face. "With all due respect, Ruby, this family business." "Family business?" Aunt Ruby laughed, a short, sharp sound. "You mean the family that uninvited her from vacation and called her free help in emails she wasn't supposed to see?" Bethany went pale. Around them, guests had stopped pretending not to listen. The journalist from Carmel magazine, Gloria noticed her pen moving rapidly across her notepad. We didn't mean it like that," Bethany stammered. "How exactly did you mean it?" This came from Mrs. Peyton, the collector who just purchased her photograph. She stood nearby, champagne in hand, watching the scene unfold with undisguised interest. Sorry," Derek said tightly. "Who are you?" "Someone who just paid $3,000 for that young woman's art." Mrs. Peyton nodded toward the bus stop photograph. "And someone who very curious why her family seems to think she should abandon her career to be a babysitter." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Bethany looked at Gloria, desperation in her eyes. "Gloria, please, let's talk privately." "Let me pause here for a second. If your family showed up at the most important night of your life, not to celebrate, but to drag you back to a life where you didn't exist, what would you say? Tell me in the comments. I really want to know. And if you want to hear what happened next, make sure you subscribed so you don't miss anything. Now let me tell y'all what she said. She didn't retreat to a corner. For 32 years, she made herself small. She whispered, accommodated, disappeared. Not tonight. She stepped forward into the center of her own exhibition and spoke clearly enough for everyone to hear. "Bethany, I understand that you're pregnant. Congratulations, genuinely. But I won't be coming back to Atlanta to be your childcare." "Gloria, I not finished." Her voice didn't waver. "You can hire a nanny. You can hire two. Derek makes enough at Whitmore and Associates, and you never had trouble spending money before. What you can't do is hire me, because I was never paid." Bethany's mouth opened, then closed. Around them, Gloria could feel the gallery guests leaning in. "This isn't a hobby," she continued, gesturing to the walls. "This my work. I've been building this for 3 years while everyone in our family assumed I had nothing important to do. And just so we clear," she pointed to the photograph Mrs. Peyton had purchased, "that piece just sold for $3,000. Tonight, I sold 4 pieces totaling $8,000. My work has value. I have value. And I will not throw that away to go back to being free help." Silence. Absolute silence. Derek coughed uncomfortably. Bethany's eyes were filling with tears. Real ones this time, Gloria thought. Not the performative kind. Then Marcus started to clap. Aunt Ruby joined him. Mrs. Peyton raised her champagne glass in a silent toast. One by one, the other guests followed. Applause rippled through the gallery, not for her photographs, for her, for the moment she finally stood up and said enough. She didn't smile triumphantly. She didn't gloat. She simply looked at her sister and said, "I hope your pregnancy goes well. I truly do." Then she turned and walked away. The gallery door opened again 20 minutes later. She was in the middle of a conversation with the Carmel magazine journalist when she saw them. Her parents standing in the entrance like they materialized from a nightmare. Her mother wore her Burberry trench coat, the one she saved for important occasions. Her father stood behind her in a blazer, looking uncomfortable and out of place. They scanned the room until their eyes found her. Patricia Dixon walked through her gallery like she owned it. Gloria. Her voice carried the same tone she used when Gloria was 8 and had tracked mud onto her clean floors. We need to talk. The journalist raised an eyebrow. Gloria excused herself and moved to intercept her parents before they could cause more of a scene. You came all this way, she said evenly. Of course we did. You disappeared. You left your family when we needed you most. Her mother's voice trembled with righteous indignation. And now I find you here playing artist while your sister pregnant and struggling. Bethany pregnant and wealthy, Gloria corrected. She not struggling. She inconvenienced. Don't be cruel, Gloria. This isn't you. You right. She took a breath. It isn't the me you wanted. The me that you could count on to do whatever you asked. But that Gloria was never seen, Mom. She was just used. Her father cleared his throat. Gloria, your mother is trying to say, I know what she's trying to say, Dad. I heard it my whole life. Family comes first. Make sacrifices. Don't be selfish. She met his eyes. But I wasn't part of the family trip to Hawaii, remember? So which is it? Am I family or aren't I? Neither of them had an answer. Her mother recovered first. Hawaii was one trip, she said dismissively. You blowing this out of proportion. Someone had to stay with the children. Someone, Gloria repeated. Why me? Why always me? Because you have the time. You don't have a husband. You don't have children of your own. What else would you be doing? She wondered if she would ever use those screenshots. Part of her had hoped she never have to. But standing there in her gallery, surrounded by her work and her witnesses, she realized that some truths need to be spoken aloud. She pulled out her phone. Let me read you something, she said, her voice steady. This is an email you sent to Bethany before the anniversary party. Her mother's face went white. Keep Gloria here to watch the kids. She doesn't have anything important to do anyway. It's like having free help. She should be grateful we give her something to do. The gallery had gone silent again. She could feel every eye on them. And Bethany replied, she continued, she'll probably feel useful for once. It's kind of sad. Bethany, standing a few feet away, looked like she wanted the floor to swallow her. Gloria, her father started, where did you? It doesn't matter where I found it. What matters is that you wrote it. She lowered her phone. I'm not reading this to embarrass anyone. I'm reading it so you understand why I left. You didn't see me as family. You saw me as staff, and staff has the right to quit. Her mother's mouth opened, closed, opened again. For the first time in her life, Patricia Dixon was speechless. The journalist from Carmel magazine was still writing. It was Derek who broke first. This ridiculous, he snapped, stepping forward. Gloria, you making a scene over nothing. So your family asked you to babysit. Big deal. That's what families do. Not everyone gets to run off and pretend to be an artist. Pretend. Mrs. Payton's voice cut through the room like ice. I just spent $3,000 on her work. I don't pay that kind of money for pretend. Derek turned, his corporate composure cracking. With respect, ma'am, you don't know this family. This is between us. Actually, I know exactly what I need to know. Mrs. Payton set down her champagne glass. I know that young woman has spent years photographing people society overlooks, and I know her own family treated her exactly the same way. A murmur rippled through the gallery. Guests were openly staring now, the kind of attention her mother had always craved, but not like this, never like this. Her mother tried to salvage the situation. This is a misunderstanding. Family jokes are being taken out of context. A joke? Another voice. A woman in her 60s with silver hair and a kind face. Gloria sold her a photograph earlier that evening. Telling your daughter she has nothing important to do. Calling her free help. What's so funny about that? More murmurs, more judgment. The social capital her mother spent decades accumulating was evaporating in real time. "I think," Aunt Ruby said gently, "it might be time for you to leave." Her mother's face flushed scarlet. Her father took her arm. Bethany was crying now, real humiliated tears. Derek stood frozen, finally understanding that his courtroom tactics meant nothing here. "Gloria," her mother said, her voice shaking, "you'll regret this." "No," she said quietly, "I really won't." Her mother left first. She turned on her heel without another word, pulling her father behind her. The gallery door closed with a soft click that somehow echoed louder than a slam. Bethany lingered, mascara smudged, arms wrapped around herself like a child caught misbehaving. "Gloria," her voice cracked, "I didn't know you felt this way. I thought you liked helping." "No, you didn't," Gloria said, not unkindly. "You didn't think about it at all. None of you did." Derek put a hand on Bethany's shoulder. For once, he said nothing. Maybe he finally run out of arguments. "I hope your pregnancy is healthy," Gloria added. "I hope your kids are happy, but I won't be their living aunt anymore. If you want to be in my life, it has to be different. It has to be equal." Bethany nodded, tears streaming. She wasn't sure she did, but it wasn't Gloria's job to make her understand anymore. They left through the same door her parents had used. The gallery let out a collective breath. Aunt Ruby appeared beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You okay?" "I think so." She let out a shaky laugh. "I just told off my entire family in public at my own art show." "You did, and you were magnificent." Marcus approached, pressing a fresh glass of champagne into her hand. "For what it was worth, I've been doing this for 20 years, never seen an opening night quite like this one." "Is that good or bad?" He smiled. "Let us just say everyone here is going to remember your name, and that Gloria Dixon is exactly what an artist needs." She looked around at her photographs, her gallery, her new life. For once, she didn't feel invisible. By the time the gallery closed that night, she had sold 8 of 15 photographs, 8 pieces, $14,000 in total sales. 8,400 would go to her, 60%, just like the contract promised. Marcus handed her the printout of the evening transactions as the last guest filtered out. Not bad for an opening night, especially one with unexpected family drama. She stared at the numbers. $8,400, more than she made in 3 months of part-time accounting work. "Mrs. Peyton wants to commission a piece," Marcus continued. "She has a vacation home in Big Sur, wants you to photograph the coastline." A commission. Private collectors often work that way. She liked her eye. She wants to see what she do with her landscape. He handed her a business card. Her assistant contact. Call them next week. She tucked the card carefully into her clutch next to her copy of the gallery contract and the magazine interview. Marcus added, "Susan said she has enough material for a feature. They considering you for next month cover." Cover of an actual magazine with her name and her face and her story. Aunt Ruby helped her carry the unsold photographs back to her room above the cafe that night. 7 pieces still waiting for the right buyers, but 7 was better than 15. 7 meant people had seen value in what she created. She set the check on her desk, the first check she ever received for her art, and photographed it, not to post anywhere, just to remember. Payable to Gloria Dixon, $8,400. Proof, physical proof that she wasn't nothing, that she never been nothing at all. 2 months later, her new life had a rhythm. She woke at 5, watched the sun rise over the Pacific from her window, and opened the ceramic cup by 6. Morning shift until noon, pouring coffee, chatting with regulars, learning the names of locals who now recognized her as Ruby Niece, the photographer. Afternoons belonged to her work. She rented a small studio space 3 blocks from the cafe, just big enough for her editing equipment and a printing station. The gallery exhibition had closed, but Marcus had already scheduled another show for spring. This time, a series called Boundaries. Photographs of edges, thresholds, the spaces between belonging and being alone. It felt right. The magazine article came out in October. Her face on the cover of Carmel magazine next to the headline, "The Artist Who Learned to See Herself." The article told her story, edited of course, with names changed to protect the innocent and the guilty alike. But the truth was there, the invisibility, the breaking point, the choice. People reached out, women who'd been the family helper, the reliable one, the one everyone forgot to thank. Their messages filled her inbox like a chorus of recognition. "I thought I was the only one. You gave me permission to leave. Thank you for showing me it's possible." Her family reached out too, eventually. Bethany texted after the baby was born, a girl named Charlotte. She sent a photo. Gloria sent congratulations and a gift card. Nothing more. Her mother called once. She didn't answer. She left a voicemail asking if she got this out of her system yet. She deleted it. But her father surprised her. His email arrived on a Tuesday evening, 3 sentences long. "Gloria, I saw the magazine. I'm proud of you." That one she kept. Today, she's sitting in her studio looking out at the Pacific. The Canon camera she bought from that pawn shop in Atlanta still sits on her shelf. Older now, battered but still working. Next to it sits a newer model, one she purchased with money she earned from her art. Both cameras matter. One reminded her to see. The other proves that people saw her back. Her second exhibition opens next month. Boundaries. 15 new photographs, each one exploring the edges of connection, where family ends and self begins, where obligation crosses into exploitation, where love becomes something else entirely. She thinks it might be her best work yet. Aunt Ruby stops by every morning with coffee and commentary. Marcus checks in weekly with updates about collectors and opportunities. The ceramic cup regulars have started requesting the photographer table by the window, where she sometimes edit photos between customers. She not rich, she not famous, but she's seen, and that enough. As for her family, we exist in a new configuration now. Christmas cards, birthday texts, the occasional update about the children, civil, distant, healthier than before. She hasn't been back to Atlanta. Maybe someday she will, but only as a visitor, never as the help. The other day she was going through old photographs and found one she'd taken years ago. A self-portrait shot in the mirror of her Atlanta apartment back when she was still invisible. The woman in that photo looked tired, defeated, like she was waiting for permission to exist. She deleted it. That woman is gone now. In her place is someone who takes up space, who creates beautiful things, who says no when she means no, and yes only when she chooses. Someone who finally let herself be seen. That's the real story. Not revenge, not triumph, just freedom. From a psychological perspective, Gloria's story illustrates something called parentification, when a child, often the eldest, takes on adult responsibilities without recognition or reciprocity. She also occupied the scapegoat role, the family member whose needs are consistently deprioritized, while a golden child, Bethany, receives endless attention and resources. Hear what I want you to take away from this. Setting boundaries isn't betrayal. It's not abandonment. It's the recognition that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and that the people who truly love you won't ask you to. If you in a situation like Gloria, remember your worth isn't measured by how useful you are to others. It's inherent. It was always there. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't fight back. It walk away. Build something of your own. Let your life speak louder than any argument ever could. You deserve that. We all do. Whew, child. If this story moved you, smash that like button one more time. Subscribe so you never miss these stories. And comment period below if you standing with Gloria. I see y'all in the next one. Love you, sis.